All right, let's dive into something really cool today. We're taking a linguistic tour of Arreqqana, a language that literally carves an entire culture out of its words. We're going to see how things like geography, relationships, and power aren't just ideas in the language. They're baked right into its very structure. So let's get into it.
So, how in the world do you get from something as basic and physical as a fart to something as profound as a soulmate? Well, the answer is hidden in the words themselves, and that's our journey today. We're going from the raw and visceral to the absolutely sublime, all inside this one incredible language.
Okay, so our first stop is high up in the mountains. We're talking about a harsh, unforgiving landscape. And, as you might expect, that kind of environment has a huge effect on how people talk. This isn't just a dialect. It's like you can hear the landscape itself in their voices.
The very first thing you'd notice is the sound. It's just abrupt. Words aren't spoken so much as they're chipped from stone. There's no room for any extra fluff or syllables here.
And there's absolutely no lyrical quality, no singing tones that rise and fall. Nope, it's flat, it's direct, it's totally grounded. The sound doesn't float, it hits.
Every single consonant hits hard. Every word just lands with this weight. It's a language of pure, unadorned function. It's built for clarity in a world where you really can't afford to waste your breath.
This one phrase just sums up the whole philosophy perfectly. Language isn't this fluid, flowing thing like water. It's solid. It's unchanging. It's absolute. Just like the mountains themselves.
And this direct philosophy, it goes right down into the nitty-gritty of the vocabulary. I mean, take the word for poop, drick. It's just a raw, root word. There's zero attempt to soften it or make it polite. It is what it is, period.
And just look at how it's used. La dreckia. Literally, I'm going now. It's a pure statement of fact. There's no poetry, no flowery explanation, no pardon me. It just points to a culture of direct, unfiltered observation.
And it's the exact same deal with a fart, scarp, f. The word literally means split wind. It's not trying to be crude, it's just a simple, physical description of what's happening. The wind in the body splits. That's it.
Believe it or not, this even extends to their humor, which is, as you can imagine, incredibly dry. See, jokes aren't about punchlines. They're just stated facts delivered with total gravity. Vel scar, stone heard it. Nobody roars with laughter, they just kind of acknowledge the observation. It's a humor of pure, unblinking reality.
Okay, let's shift gears completely. We're moving from that world of rock and impact to see how this same language builds something totally different. We're leaving the physical world behind and stepping into the complex realm of personal relationships, where suddenly the language becomes incredibly nuanced.
And this is what's so wild. In a language that can be so incredibly blunt, there isn't just one word for partner. There are at least 6 distinct, separate terms, and each one defines a completely different kind of bond. That tells you right away that for this culture, the nature of a connection is everything. So here's a quick roadmap of what we're talking about. You've got words for romantic love, for destiny, for a gentle emotional partnership, for a passionate one, a strong mountain variant, and even a formal legal term. Each one carries a totally different energy. So let's just compare 2 of them to really see the range here. On one side, you've got Karn. Feel that? It's short, solid, no frills, straight from the mountains. It can mean a spouse, sure, but it could also mean your battle partner, a life ally. It's about a solid alliance. Then on the other side, you have nomarian, which comes from the root word to love. That's purely for a beloved, a romantic partner. Same core idea, partner, but they exist in 2 vastly different worlds. But this one is my absolute favorite. Qhiyakasorrin li. It comes from the verb to braid or to weave, a thread-bonded partner. This isn't just about love or duty. It implies destiny. It's this deep spiritual connection, as if your very lives are threads that are woven together. I mean, what a concept. It's uniquely and deeply Arreqqana.
So, we've seen the language of the earth and the language of the heart. For our final stop, let's ascend to the language of power, the elite and sacred titles that are reserved for people at the very, very top. This is where a partnership isn't just a bond, it's a form of shared sovereignty. The way these elite titles are built is just fascinating. They're not just words, they're more like formulas. Take Qhiyakasorrin. It's built from Qhiya, which means light or life flow, and Kasorrin, which means sovereign woven power. Put them together, and the result is the sovereign light-bound one. It implies that you don't just exist together, you elevate each other, you rise together.
And you can modify this concept. You can swap out light for flame, that's Neddor, and you get Qhiyakasorrin. All of a sudden it's a bond that's fiery, transformative, unstoppable. Or, for the most formal, most sacred occasions, you use Arreqqana. You're adding roots for divine spirit and an exalted suffix. This is a title you'd see carved into a temple, not something you'd say in a conversation.
But of course, even here, that mountain dialect finds its way back in. The elite, private way to say all those grand titles is just Qhiyakasorrin. It's shortened, it's heavy, it's stripped of all the fancy ornaments. It's a title that doesn't need to shout about its own power. It just has gravity. So, from the clipped sound of rock to the woven threads of destiny to the sacred architecture of power, we've seen how a single language can hold an entire universe. Let's try and bring it all together. Ultimately, when you get right down to it, in Arreqqana, language is a map of the culture itself. The environment forges the actual sound of the words. The culture's values decide what needs to be named with incredible precision, like those 6 different kinds of partners. And the social structure dictates how words are built to show status. Language doesn't just describe their world, it actively builds it. And that really just leaves us with one final thought to chew on. If a language can be a map to an entire culture, what does your own language, the specific words you choose to use every single day, say about your world, your values, and your story? What does it reveal about you?